Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you again for joining us to this live session. Today we have a really interesting subject matter to talk about. But first, Annabel, maybe you can introduce yourself for today.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Hideki. Great to be here. So just to introduce myself, my name is Annabel Moody. I'm an account executive here at Zendesk. And I work specifically with our media and entertainment clients here at Zendesk, which means largely like sports companies that we work with, sometimes gaming companies as well. But the reason we're here today is because I have a lot of conversations with sports clubs, sports organizations, and how they're thinking about fan experience. And so hopefully today we'll discuss some of those trends that we've seen and how companies are tending to look to the future. So very excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, it's actually quite an interesting topic to talk about. We, from redk, we've been working in this sector for a while. And there are some things that I think made this sector particularly special. The first one, I think, is one very interesting one, is that the business is not just one single business. It's a combination of different businesses in one. Because you have B2B sponsorship sales, you have corporate sales for entertainment, you have the B2C element, obviously with ticketing, the element of keeping fans engaged throughout the season, and then you have retail operations and e-commerce, right? So it's several businesses in one, and it's different revenue streams. And historically, this sector has not been very advanced in terms of technology. So what we're finding is that a lot of organizations are looking at ways to digitalize their operations beyond the field operations on the stadiums, right? So what goes beyond that, especially around data and understanding the customer, right? The other element that I think is really interesting about this, and you might have perceived this, is how passionate people are when they work in this industry. You know, there is the element of contributing back to the community, the grassroots element of the sports clubs, building this connection with the local community and with the people that are living around you. Many people that work in this sector actually have been fans, or their families are fans of the sports clubs for generations, right? So it's really cool to feel that, and I think in that sense, this is a very important factor to keep in mind when we do our work from a customer experience perspective. But it's also really cool, right? So it's really enjoyable from that perspective, right? So when we look at, I think particularly because of that, customer experience becomes a key element, because this is a business of emotions, right? It's all about engagement. So even and emotions can go in one way or another the day of the game, or whilst the season is happening, right? So in that regard, I think it's quite interesting to see the research. PwC has done some research, and they've shown that around 20% of younger fans that engage with in watching a game, when they do at home, they actually only 20% watch the full game. The majority disengage before or at some point. Around 47% either surf the web or play video games or play games on their mobile phones whilst watching the game. And only 1% of young people attending or watching a game from home will watch the game from beginning to end with no interruptions. So this is quite interesting, because we're not only fighting for a share of the market, but we're also fighting for people's attention, right? So in that regard, I think the fan behavior is changing over time, and we're seeing how having that engagement throughout the season is more important than ever if you want to keep those clients engaged, right? What are you hearing? Because you're having a lot of conversations with companies in this sector, and we have a few customers in common, some big football clubs. What is the feedback in terms of the challenges that these organizations are having?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. So As you alluded to, sports organizations and clubs are very particular. Often they're serving fans that have been fans for generations. Their parents were a fan, their grandparents, etc. So it's quite different to the traditional customer experience use case that we typically see about preventing customer churn, keeping your customers happy, because sports clubs know they'll never lose a fan to a poor customer experience.
Yeah.
However, because it's so emotive, because it's so important, and it's about doing the right thing and building a community, making sure that they're doing right by their fans is absolutely critical. So that will lead to trends that we see specifically in this segment to do with personalization, understanding who your customer is, how they like to be served, but then also making sure that you're available across all channels that suit the fan. And then also, because a lot of it is around match days, around real-time events, it's making sure that you're answering the ticket on time rather than a couple of days after the match and rendering the whole response ineffective. So those are some key trends that we see. There's many, many more, but it's different to the traditional use case, but built on similar foundations that we see across the world.
Yeah. That's really interesting. We obviously we partner with Zendesk because we believe is a very powerful tool. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we've noticed is how Zendesk is continuously adding innovative, not only features, but whole sets of chunky products that are aiming at improving that experience, right? You talked about real-time, personalized omni-channel experiences, right? What is it that Zendesk is doing to meet these demands? And I ask this because when you talk about football clubs or sports clubs or large venues with, tens of thousands of people, mm-hmm. where you can have 40, 50,000 people in a day, the moments, even the hours leading up to the event are crucial, right? They're moments of truth where people are looking up to this moment, spending quite a lot of money on, for these leisure activities. So personalization is key, right? What we see is that that's a very difficult challenge to meet, right? So how is Zendesk coming up or trying to cover these challenges for these organizations?
So meeting fan expectations is challenging, as usually these clubs are working with quite limited resources for the amount of requests that they're getting, especially if we're talking about football. A lot of the budget goes into the players rather than the systems or the people supporting their fans. So it's about doing more with less, making sure you have strong systems in place to automate where you can, make things as streamlined as possible, but then also having a unified view of the customer, understanding who your fan is. A lot of clubs or organizations will have lots of different systems that they're working with. So making sure that, first of all, you understand who the fan is, you're building a profile of that fan over time, but then integrating into your different systems. So you're pulling all that data in and you're able to provide those personalized experiences. And then, as you mentioned about the seasonality or the different match days, etc., it causes quite fluctuating volumes and people are often on the go. So making sure that you're present across all your channels is really important as well, because, well, very few people in the world enjoy opening an email in the app or on a laptop. It's super inconvenient. It takes ages to write a support request from scratch. So it's about making sure that you're present on the channels that your fans expect you to be. Like a typical one would be WhatsApp, Instagram, telephony as well. We see that in typically older generations as well. Just making sure that you're available to answer those fan requests and on time as well. So being truly omni-channel is really key to overcoming those those challenges.
Yeah. So I think that's quite interesting. Something that when we started working with these organizations, something that we realized is the peak for the demand in specific times of the month, days, or in even during the day. There were specific times during the day when things will multiply times 10, the demand for immediate, accurate service, right? Whilst a few months later, you have no demand whatsoever, right? So I think one of the challenges that these type of organizations face is that they need to have the ability to cater for that demand at those specific points in time where the demand is super high, so the capacity needs to be extensive. And this creates a problem from an operational perspective because you need more people to attend to those things. But then you cannot have 50 people hired today and fire them tomorrow, right? So scaling up operations is quite important, right? And managing the capacity of the team in line with that demand. And we've been having conversations on how to solve this challenge because, for instance, we have a client that manages one of the largest entertainment fairs in London right in Christmas. And they have to open to tens of thousands of people every day. But the team doesn't actually change. So I think the tools that we're implementing, the operational model, the capabilities, they need to be really fine-tuned with that demand, right? So in that regard, in terms of scaling operations, what sort of capabilities is Zendesk bringing up to the market to be able to meet those challenges?
So when it's challenges like these that most sporting organizations have, they're all surrounding events and they have seasons, etc. So with that, and with the goal of keeping everything as streamlined as possible to not have fluctuations in staff, it's about going back to the basics and keeping everything as simple as possible. And as you mentioned earlier, they have a lot of different businesses typically. There might be hospitality, retail, ticketing, like ticketing operations. So making sure that you're just as streamlined as possible and making sure it gets to the right team as quickly as possible. The agents are served with the tools necessary to respond. It might be pre-canned responses. It might be some level of automation. But then what Zendesk is really heavily investing in, and this is where we're going, it's the advent of AI. Mm-hmm. How long does it take to mention AI? Yeah. Very, very little time.
Yeah.
But the advent of AI and ChatGPT is having huge ramifications, whether it's by recognizing what the ticket is about, giving the agent instructions on how to solve it, surfacing detailed answers from the knowledge base and answering the question a lot more intuitively. That's the direction of travel at the moment, especially with helping sporting organizations handle increased requests. And you mentioned moments of truth earlier, and one that I've had quite a few conversations over recent weeks about is women's football as a good example. Rightly so, and I'm so excited by the fact it's so we're already excited by women's football, and we're rightly so having a lot more games. But it's a great example because football clubs don't necessarily have the resources to staff increased volumes on now the additional match days that are coming with women's football. So how can teams do more with less as trends are changing, as they're scaling and they're moving into different segments? So it's a really exciting time, and we're really focused on working with our clients on helping them do more with less, leveraging AI and different automating tools to handle increased volumes.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. One of the things that we found talking to clients and actually running these optimization projects is that the majority of the time you'll find that anywhere from 60 to 80% of the queries coming into the customer service teams are very basic questions. Very basic questions that if you don't have the technology, someone needs to be there to answer those very basic questions. Like locations at the stadium, information about a ticket, opening, rules, etc., right? Something that is coming quite apparent is the importance of knowledge management as a core base to enable AI products. So because the knowledge is then used by the service agents, is used by the AI agents, and is used by the clients themselves when they find the information. So having the large language models, the AI structured within the platform that is going to handle those requests helps accelerate this and helps serve clients on those peaks, right? Where you may have, 10 times the amount of service requests, but because we're able to identify what requests for service are most common, we can actually pre-structure the answers, but service those answers using natural language processing. So they don't feel like a robotic, generic answer. It feels more like something that is being personalized for you. Mm-hmm. Now, if you combine that with personal data, right, where let's say, for instance, you bought 3 tickets for the next 3 games, but you're opening a question, the AI bot can actually tell you, oh, which of these games are you asking the question about? So because it's able to recognize you, so to be able to give you a precise answer on the products that you already bought, right? I think that capability is incredible, and the more we are implementing it on clients, obviously this requires understanding their business model, their operational model. The capability is incredible. Can you tell us a little bit more about how Zendesk's strategy for AI products? Like, what AI products are you driving, and where are you seeing impact and benefit?
So AI is front and center of everything we're doing at the moment. Previously, we positioned ourselves as a CX customer experience company, but now we're 100% an AI company, and everything we're investing in is incorporating AI tools. So whether that's improving the ability for customers to administrate their systems, build bots, provide generative answers, and really get to the crux of the issues like you described, that's what we're investing in. And things are changing all the time. We just released what we call agentic AI agents in the spring. So it's our agentic AI chatbot, which empowers the bot to be a lot more autonomous in its decision making, and also leverage adaptive reasoning to be so much more intuitive and make decisions based on the customer requests. So this automatically is having huge impacts, and we're really seeing our customers adopt this, and we've seen huge deflection, or we should say automation rates. It's not about ticket deflection anymore, it's about ticket automation. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing automation rates amongst our customer base of 60 to 80%. Granted, that's more within the retail space, that's an easy space that's really prime for disruption. Mm-hmm. But within the media and entertainment world that I'm working in, we're seeing deflection of up to 40% when a customer is turning on agentic AI agents.
So automated resolutions, where the AI agent solves the issue without human intervention.
That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. So when a bot is automating the response and resolving it, and it's actually considered by the customer, mm-hmm, resolved. We don't want to be annoying any customers, yeah, or making them think we're just fobbing them off. But that's how we're quantifying the success. We want to automate requests, and deflection as well will not go away. Customers love to self-serve, but that's where we're really focusing our product roadmap at the moment.
That's really interesting. I think obviously everybody is talking about AI, yeah, and the technology leaders in organizations, and in this case the customer experience leadership in different organizations, are asking, how can we integrate AI into our digital ecosystem, into our customer service operations safely? I think that's the main question we've been asked. And my suggestion is to, engage with us, because we have a AI readiness assessment process by which we help clients understand where they are in terms of AI adoption, particularly in CRM and customer experience. And so it's not just about having the digital capabilities and the tools and the technology. It's also about understanding how to adapt your organization to be ready to adopt that technology and make the most of it, right? In terms of moving forward, what advice can you give, or what can you tell organizations in the sports industry on how to improve their customer experience with you?
Well, firstly, everybody's in the same boat. A lot of companies don't know where to begin. And I don't think I've met a single company that's fully ahead of where they want to be with AI, although there's a lot of really smart people having some really interesting ideas. But what I'd say is great to start small. It's hard to know what the end vision is going to be with AI when it's constantly changing at the moment. Someone likened it to the Nokia 310 era of the mobile revolution. We're just at the beginning. We don't know where it's going. A lot of people are trying to get ahead. So what I see the best impacts has been in companies starting small with AI, not expecting the world to change from just switching on AI, because that's where the downfall is when you have huge expectations, but incorporating it into the day-to-day. Customer service is such a manual role most of the time. Yeah. And I think what I see with my customers is they don't understand, they don't sometimes take a step back and look at what could be automated. It's such a manual role. So it's really prime for disruption with AI, but by starting small, you can compound the effects of AI. It's like investing. If you do a little bit at a time, then all of a sudden you've taken away 20% of the time it takes to answer tickets. So I really recommend start small, look for creative ways, try things. If it doesn't work, that's fine. You can move on. But what I see is a lot of caution, and as well, it's not to be, you can't be plunging into the depths of changing everything. But starting small, and also listen to the experts. And we see this with Zendesk. Like, we're having conversations with customers all the time about their AI strategy. We are investing heavily in the product. We have product feedback as well from customers all the time. So we have a plethora of information and feedback from our customers. Listen to that. We do sometimes know what we're talking about, but then just listen to different things as well. So I'd say start small, listen to the experts, and I can't remember what my last thing was.
So something that I think is quite interesting is from Zendesk in particular. As far as I always known the organization, it's been very customer service centric. So when you say listen to the experts, I think Zendesk is an organization that is very good at listening to its clients and understanding that feedback and how to translate that feedback in actionable functionality and products. And we can see that in the evolution of the product. And if you think about how Zendesk has evolved over the last 10 years, it's incredible. I mean, it's an organization that is managed to really make an impact in the customer service space, right? And I think it's because we offer that consultative service where we help organizations transform or incorporate CX technology. When I've attended sports events, like I recently attended a very famous tennis event here in London, and I was surprised how, even though the mobile application had a lot of information about the day, there was no way to interact with the data other than navigating through different buttons, right? So even organizations that are quite large and famous still haven't figured out how to do this properly, right? So I would say I will invite organizations to engage with us, learn about where you are in your AI journey, and what you need to do to close those gaps, and then accelerate the process to be ready, right? You were going to say something else?
Well, no, I also wanted to add that AI is never going to replace the human, especially in the sporting world.
Yeah.
It's a very emotive, very human world. It's never going to be replaced by a bot. But just as you were saying, in that example of when you're at the tennis tournament not being able to find the answer, that goes back to the being where your customer needs to be, being accessible. Don't shut down the channels for your customer to have. So being on the other end of the phone, being human, the customer experience is always going to be human. But what we're seeing with AI is that it's just so powerful in being able to improve the manual work of that role, and it's definitely a wave that I recommend that all companies get on.
Yeah, it's definitely an extension of the human capability, right? It's not a replacement. Obviously, you're looking to optimize, and the road to that probably also implies changes in the way the human team is organized, but by no means doesn't mean completely replacing it. Especially in sports, I think, like you said, it's such an emotional industry, right? The way customers engage with the clubs is crazy, right? And it doesn't have to be also just a sport. Like when we think about large venues, places like, I don't know, for instance, in London, the O2, right? They get 60,000 people in the same place in the same 3 hours.
It's insane.
You know, it's insane. The hours leading up to that, during the event, after the event. When I've gone to these type of events, I try to find out the information. If I drive, I want to park, I want to reserve the parking. If I'm going by tube, I want to understand the dynamics. So having all this information available for me makes the experience so much better, right? So the likelihood of me returning is so much better. Anyways, I think that's all the time we have today, but if you are in the sports sector and you need a little bit of help improving the customer experience, your fan experience, we're here to help. So is Zendesk as a technology provider. Thank you very much. Thank you, Annabel.
Thank you. And just wanted to say that if anyone wants to chat about the AI strategy or customer experience strategy, please reach out to us here at Zendesk. Obviously, it's non-committal as well. You don't have to be a customer. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Very happy to have these conversations. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Same thing here. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.